Okay. It's a lot of pressure and stress. January, did I say that name right? Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. We'll give everyone a minute or two to jump in on the call and we'll get started. Thank you for joining us.
Well, good afternoon, Edric.
Hey, how are you?
Good. I heard great things from you from Patty.
I hope she only said good things. It's not true, but at least it'll make
We'll
me
take
feel
it,
good.
right?
Exactly. Oh yeah, I think I heard good things about you too.
They're not true either, so we're good.
Where are you at?
I am currently, my husband's stationed down at Homestead, so we're in the Florida Keys, Miami area.
Okay.
About to be in Kuwait, so we're going global.
Nice. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Yeah, so I'm going to explain EXP today.
I'm all for it.
At least that's what the plan is.
I'll be your hype man or woman.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I might call on you to give us some explanation. I know a lot of people they hear it through different channels. They get bits and pieces. And so what I want to do on a regular basis is really just explain the model and from my perspective, why I decided to go with EXP. So I'm just going to share my screen here in a minute here, if everything wants to operate. And
I love technology.
Start it. Yeah, so just a little feedback on that. So a little bit about me. I've been in real estate now for going on 18 years. I became a RE/MAX agent probably about 4 or 5 years in. Really like that model, really like what RE/MAX had to offer agents in way of agent ownership, high commissions, and just the professionalism that they encouraged. Can you see my screen? My little model explain? Okay, perfect. So then I decided I had hit a ceiling and I would go into ownership myself. So I went independent and opened my own office and quickly realized that I was lonely. I missed being around agents. I missed the growth. So it wasn't RE/MAX that I was unhappy with. It was the office I was at. The office that I was at and the office I was looking for didn't exist. So it was a perfect opportunity to see if I could create that type of atmosphere. And I did. I signed a franchise agreement, opened RE/MAX, did that for 6 years and realized again, I hit a ceiling, and that ceiling was as a broker owner. It was really hard to be profitable. It was hard to be profitable and keep agents happy simultaneously. So I found myself in a constant battle of, do I take on this expense? Do I take on this risk so that agents will stay with my office? It was kind of almost like trying to be the popular kid. And so I decided, of course, paying my bills was more important than being a Remax owner. So we went independent again, but this time for a very short period of time, because this time around I said, as going independent, my goal is to one day have an independent agency that I can give ownership to agents. We can go public and sell stocks. And we're going to figure out how to have group healthcare, affordable healthcare, so that people that come into real estate don't have to look at it as a kind of a hustle, a side hustle on in lieu of their full-time jobs. It can actually be a career that full-time professionals can take advantage of. And it's funny because what I'm describing is what EXP is, but I'd never listened to the people who wanted to bring me into this EXP world, if you will. It just never resonated as being a legitimate thing for me. And I never took it seriously. That was until my sponsor, a 25-year plus Remax legend, Marty Hampton, decided she was joining EXP. So when she decided to join EXP, I decided it was time to listen to what EXP had to offer. And what she explained to me is kind of what I'm going to explain today. So that's my background.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's talk about how EXP was founded. So Glenn Sanford, who was with Keller Williams earlier in his career, decided that there was something missing in the industry. And what that was is that, you know, typically 1099 agents can only make money one way, and that's selling real estate. In fact, they say we die selling real estate. And that saying can't be closer to true, not further from truth, but it's very true that agents die selling real estate. In fact, a local agent here in my market, I found out, you know, he passed away a couple years ago, but I found out he was in escrow on a listing with an agent in the hospital. And that's, you know, that kind of woke me up, because I'm still in my prime, but the one day will come sooner than later where I don't want to make my money just selling real estate. I want to create passive income. I want to do other things. And so Glenn Sanford really took that to another level when he introduced EXP and what this model is. So here's the traditional model. That's you at the bottom left. You're the happy agent because you just sold a house and got a commission check. But of course, you got to pay Billy the broker, your splits, your royalties, your desk fees. Pretty much any company has one or a combination of these things. And of course, we all as agents think the broker is the one making all the money, which of course they're not, because they in turn have all this massive overhead. They have to pay staff, they got to pay office leases, they have to pay royalties to their franchise, they have to pay insurance, and the list goes on and on. And so the reality is, at the end of the day, if a broker is profitable, especially in this climate and especially in the industry, the way it's built today, then hats off to them, because it's really hard to do. So the winners are corporate, because the regions and the corporation, they squeeze as much as they can out of the franchisors so that they can make the shareholder happy. And that's who's truly happy, the shareholder, because they're the ones that get a return on their investment. So Glenn said, although these people are great, and I've had some of the most awesome brokers in my career, I've had some of the most awesome regional staff in my career. I've purchased personally as a private citizen stock in the real estate industry because I want to support the industry that I'm in. And that's all fine and dandy. But Glenn said, why don't we cut these people out, and why don't we split the revenue between us? We'll provide the platform that agents need to broker their sales, and the agent can bring the talent, and we'll split the revenue down the middle. And I mean that, you know, literally, we'll split the revenue down the middle. And so that's what he did. And he's able to do that. And he was able to do that because we no longer have the royalties. We no longer have the office rents that we had to have, because EXP is not a franchise. You can't buy your way into it. You can't own one. It's the platform. And so you, as the broker, can decide what expenses you want to take on. All right, so let's talk compensation. I just like to jump to the point because that's what a lot of people want to know about. How do you get paid and what's the compensation plan through EXP? Real simple. It's an 80-20 split. Everybody pays 80-20, which caps at $16,000. So once that 20% that's paid to EXP equals $16,000, and I did the math in my market, that's about 8 to 10 deals a year, then I go to 100% commission. Once you go to the 100% commission, you pay a nominal fee of $250 per transaction, which also caps, and we'll get into that here in a minute. Aside from that, per transaction, there's a broker review fee. That's to make sure all your I's are dotted and T's are crossed so you can live to see another day in real estate. That's $25 a transaction. And then there's errors and omissions, which is $45 per transaction, which caps at $500. There is a, if you want to think of out-of-pocket expenses, on a monthly basis, you get charged $85, and that's to give you access to the cloud. EXP works virtually through a cloud, not you necessarily, but their staff works through the cloud, and you have access to your broker as well as a phenomenal amount of tools like EXP University, where you can go to classes, 15 to 18 per day sometimes, but that only costs you $85. And my favorite part is the KBCore, the website CRM that they have. I was paying $600 a month for an enterprise account for the website CRM. Now it only costs me less than $85 a month. There's a one-time setup fee of $149, one time, not once a year, just one time. Paid it a year and a half ago when I joined EXP. I'll never have to pay that again. All right, so let's talk about a deal scenario. What's the effective split? Because that's really what matters. And what I did is I put three categories. If you sold 12 houses, if you sell 24 houses, if you sell 36 houses within a year, or sides, we'll say, because we all like dual sides, right? Double siding a deal. So with the math, we're using the median price point of $250,000, which it is in my market, at a gross commission income of 3%. So $7,500 gross commission income per deal. If you did 12 of those in a year's time, you would gross $90,000. After you paid all of your fees and splits and such, you would take home $71,200 with an effective split essentially of 79.11%. If you double that production, and that's what I'm excited to get about, because people ask, well, can I double my production? If you join EXP, absolutely, particularly if you come in under the right network that's about helping you grow your production. And I'm living proof of it. So you do twice that much. You gross $180,000 in commissions. Once all the smoke clears, you walk away with just under $160,000. So your effective split then is 88%, almost 87%. Now here's where it gets magical, because between 24 and 36 deals, so you're doing 2 deals a month, and then you grow your business to 3 closings a month. You're grossing at $270,000. Once you pay your splits and your fees and all that good stuff, your effective split jumps up to 97.6%. And I'm going to show you how. EXP has what they call rewarding icons. In fact, they call it icon. So once you have capped and you've paid that 20% to EXP, of course, you're only paying $250 per transaction. But they took it a step further. They said once that $250 in transaction fees equals $5,000, so another 20 deals, we're going to award you as an icon. So now you're an icon, and to reward you, we're going to give you a stock reward of the $16,000. So let me break this down, because I want to make sure you understand it. EXP is rewarding me by paying me in way of stocks for doing what I should be doing anyways, which is selling houses. Yes, correct. They compensate their agents for doing a good job. Anything you want to add to that, Ms. K?
No, I'm in 100% agreement, because I'm sitting here, I'm like, yes, that's exactly how it goes, because a lot of agents, they think it's a gimmick. And I'm like, well, you never know until you jump into it. But when you see agents like yourself or like Patty, who have been in the business long enough to see it, do the things it's going to do, and you're doing better by doing less with a company that's supporting you so you can live the lifestyle you want, I'm all for it. So you're preaching.
Yeah. I didn't believe it until I saw it too, until I got that first stock reward. I was like, oh, it's real. It's a real thing.
I think you had the same experience we had the first time it was pitched to us. It wasn't explained in this detail, like the way you're explaining it. So it was a turn off. It seems too good to be true. And then it kind of dumped off. But when we had the right people explain it, we were like, after being your own brokerage because Patty was a boutique brokerage, and and you having your own brokerage, it's like, why would I trade giving away everything that I've built to go join some brand new company that's now in 20 countries that's now I know we're well past the 70,000 agent mark now, but because this seems too good. I love it.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. The platform is awesome. And I'm glad you brought it up as far as why would I give up my brokerage? Because I went through that same thing. Like, why would I give up everything I built to give it away to yet another corporation? Because that's how I felt it was at that point.
Yep.
But then one of the things I didn't mention earlier is I wanted my independent to eventually become a franchise. I said, I can do it better than anybody. I can figure it out. I can franchise this model. But here's the thing with EXP, I can franchise the model day one. I don't have to have, all these assets or all this buy-in. I can expand my team and start with very low overhead anywhere I want to. I'm in a very serious conversation right now with an agent in Wilmington who just joined our team. And she really is ready to start kicking it off, and she's ready to start a team. But there's some things that she doesn't have on her own that we can collaborate with, and I can help her grow her business. And it's a win-win situation because now we're aligned, which is awesome. So yeah, that's what really got me going. But wait, there's more.
Always.
So this next slide is the compensation for contribution. So the revenue share model. One of the things that I really love doing in the last probably 5 years in my career is really giving back, teaching other agents how to scale their business, how to grow their business, how to run their sales business like a business in the first place, because we don't get that education. And a lot of agents come into the business not knowing how to run a business, and it hurts. So I really enjoy doing that. I enjoy mentoring agents. The problem with that is in any other model, well, we already talked about being a broker owner. That's very hard to be profitable in. But if I were, say, still at a Remax as an agent, if I mentor agents or if I coach agents, I don't get paid to do that. And so I have a decision to make. Am I going to go out here and try to sell houses so that I can feed my family? Or am I going to be a nice guy and help Sue down the hall learn how she can go from 2 sales a month to 5 sales a month? It's a tough decision because I think naturally, we're all nice people and we want to help people. But at the end of the day, we can't help people unless we eat. So EXP got rid of that entire problem for us by creating their revenue share model. And that's where I said, literally, Glenn Sanford said, we're going to split the revenue down the middle because he created revenue share. So half of every dollar that goes to EXP and that 20% that we pay out of splits goes back to the network of agents who help grow the company. Now, naysayers and people on the outside say, oh, it's recruiting. It's recruiting. I would say if you look at it that way, it can be. And don't get me wrong, because I'm a very transparent person. I'll talk about the bad with the good. The one thing that turned me off about EXP for years were the people who were introducing it to me. And I felt like they were just trying to recruit me. They didn't really want to do anything to help me grow my business. It wasn't until I met, like I said, I spoke with Marty and realized what access to the network, even beyond her, which that was enough. Just to be able to be attached to her to the hip was enough for me. But the network of people besides her that were interested, because now we were financially aligned and growing my business, that's when the light bulb really went off. This is what really did it for me. So now I can help agents come into the business or be in the business and grow their business. And I don't have to expect anything out of return, because EXP says, here's your compensation for helping this agent grow their business. And in turn of them growing their business, the brand grows. I love it. So here's what we got here. We got, you see, you got your sponsor levels, you got your agents needed for each level, you have your revenue share and your annual potential. It can get really complicated, but I'm going to make it super simple for you. You attract an agent to the company, they sign up, they cap. So they've done that 8 to 10 deals we talked about. That's considered capped. Then EXP pays you up to $2,800 a year because they're your level 1. Now they do less than that. They don't sell 8 to 10 a year. They sell half that. You get half of the cap. The point is that you're actually being compensated for your time. You're getting something for your time, and the agent is getting that support that they need without having to feel like they're calling in a favor. So that's what I really like about that. But it gets even more interesting, because that agent not only caps, but they say, I'm a mentor too. I want to help people grow their business. So now you help them help other agents grow their business. Those agents would be their tier 1 and your tier 2. And so you would get, if those agents cap, up to $3,040 annually. So what about if they cap in the second year? Well, you would get it again. Third year? Yep, you get it the third year as well. And the list goes on and on and on. So we could see here that we create this snowball effect where you can create serious passive income from just doing your job and just being a good person. And you don't have to choose one over the other. In fact, I've grown my sales business. And as a result, I've been able to help people grow their business, because I'm not just telling them based off of theory. I'm telling them based off of actual practice. This is how I went from 20 million a year to 40 million a year to this year. My goal is to go to 60 million in production this year. And I'm not keeping any secrets. I'm sharing it with anybody who will listen if they're willing to plug in. And guess what? When there's success, I get a revenue share check from the company, not from the agent. Doesn't come out of the agent's pocket. Can't beat it. Anything you want to throw on this revenue share? This is what really got my eyes big and wide.
So I'll be honest, when it comes to this, I have, kind of like yourself, I have friends that are all about it. They can talk it all day long. And it's one of those things that I don't think about and Patty doesn't think about. It just happens. So when it's kind of like what my husband would refer to it as surprise shoe money, or like surprise Disney trips or something, because it's not something you're counting on. You're just doing your job. And it's kind of like that bonus that you would get at a corporate company for being a good employee. So I think it's one of the unique factors about EXP, and it's done so in a tasteful way. And I love it.
It's awesome. Yeah. And it can be, you don't have to be a recruiter to be successful at EXP. In fact, you don't even have to be a recruiter to be successful at building your revenue share. You just have to be a giver. You have to be someone who's willing to pour into people, that's willing to share your knowledge and make sure that I've made it a business model. I made it a business model in the sense that I will know if I'm doing a good enough job in giving back to the industry by how much my revenue share is.
Exactly. And you said something that, like, you hit it on the head, and it's about who you align with. So I'm currently locked on my Facebook, so I can't share the quote, but one thing I always say is, and it's a quote that I love, is your network is your net worth, and who you align with is just that. So I know you're a different up and down line than what we are, but you have an impeccable amount of support, because I'll be honest, I Facebook stalked the mess out of you years ago. And so seeing where you were with, you know, your previous brokerage to now, it is night and day. And I'm not just saying that professionally and business wise, but you could see the happiness, like you fell back in love with what you're doing, kind of thing. And
I appreciate you saying it. Yeah, it make it.
Mhm.
I love how Brent Go says it. EXP has made real estate fun again.
Yes,
It really
100%.
has. Yeah.
It has. And it's different because before I was with, you know, Patty, I was with a different brokerage altogether, a different team. And it is night and day. People with EXP are so quick to say, this is how I do A, B, and C. Here's the tools, you know, and not make it do the, oh, this is mine, I can't share it kind of thing.
Right.
So everybody's playbook is always open and very transparent, like you said, because everybody is a giver. They want people to succeed because they're creating successful partners and competition because they want real estate to thrive. And I think it is a beautiful, beautiful foundation. And it's something that EXP does without, you know, any questions, without any strings. So you've nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, and I think to take it a step further, imagine, because, and here's the thing, people have to sell houses for this model to even work. So if
Yep.
people aren't selling houses, ain't no money to be made, right? For lack of a better Southern term, right? So if I'm not helping people and I'm not pouring into people to make sure that they know how to get their offers accepted in a competitive market like we have today, where a buyer is typical for a buyer to have to make 3 to 5 to 10 offers to get anything accepted.
Yep.
If I have the value, if I have that knowledge and I can show people how to do that, then they're going to sell more houses. And it's truly a system. And I learned this slogan when I was at Remax. I mean, in fact, the founder wrote a book. It's called Everybody Wins.
Mhm.
And that saying has always stuck with me, but this is one of those models where truly everybody wins. It's not a pyramid, because pyramids are shaped like a triangle, which means very few people at the top get all the money from all the people at the bottom. This system is set up to where, though, the more you pour in, no matter where you are, what level you're on, you have just as much opportunity to maximize your potential as the person that joined 3 years ago. So that's what I love about it. And one thing that I love even more about it is the fact that I don't lay awake at night wondering if a deal I have in escrow is going to close. Because if it doesn't close, I might not be able to make my car payment, or I might not be able to pay payroll. I always have this revenue share, almost like an insurance. And really what I have it, you know, I say you always need to assign your dollars, but this is my retirement plan. This is my passive income plan. So before I had a plan of one day I'm going to buy this apartment complex. I'm going to buy, you know, I got a few single family rental properties. I'm not getting rich off of them, but that was my retirement cushion of one day they'll be paid off and I'll be cash flowing, you know, aside from the maintenance costs and the taxes on them. I'll bring in a couple bucks a month to be able to subsidize my retirement.
Yep.
Well, instead of buying rentals, which by the way require upkeep, require you having to fix stuff up because tenants tear it up, why not just go and invest in agents and help them perform at optimum levels? And I mean, it doesn't matter what market you're in, but any one of these levels, if you divide any of these numbers, the $2,800 over a year's period, if you're cash flowing that a month on a rental, you're doing pretty good. So the one thing a house can't do is birth a new top producer. A house can't create another house, but a great agent can birth a new great agent, which can birth 10 more great agents. And all I have to do is contribute my time and effort to pass the torch to help them learn how to grow their business. So anyways, it really gets me excited because now I see an exit strategy, which I haven't seen before in all of my career. I always thought eventually one day maybe I can start a team and they can sell some houses and I might make a few bucks. But now I don't want to retire from real estate. I want to help other agents grow. But anyways, I'm going to jump. Let's see here. Let's talk about stock rewards, because we talked about once you cap and then you hit icon, So we're talking 28 to 30 closings per year. You hit Icon, they give you your 16,000 back in the way of a stock reward. There's other ways to get it. So in your first close, EXP rewards you with stock. When you sponsor someone to the company, EXP rewards you with stock. When you cap, like we just talked about, Icon, and then there's even something even cooler. On every transaction you have, and this is totally voluntary, you can opt into the program, but you're not required to, but you are eligible to contribute up to 5% of every commission to stock, EXPI stock. We're publicly traded. And when you do that, you get it at a 10% discount. So just think about that for a second. If you have a really good investment and you're getting a 10% annual return, that's pretty great. EXP is giving you a 10% hedge right in the beginning just for investing in the company that you're a part of growing. So that's phenomenal. And I definitely do that. And it's irregardless. We don't know what the stock market's going to do. We don't know whether it's going to go up or down. But I can tell you, any other company I've worked for, they rewarded me with trophies. And I know what the trophies are going to be worth one day. Nothing. So I'll take my chances on the stock all day long. So we talk compensation plan, commissions, revenue share, stock rewards, stock purchases. Let's talk about how we collaborate. What products do we have? How does EXP help agents and provide that platform? Agents need to grow in a society where no longer is it good enough to do business even in where you're living, your hometown, or whatever your market is. You need to be, even if you're going to focus on selling where you are, you need to know how real estate works globally. You need to know how they're doing it in California, in New York, in Texas, because I assure you, we're typically here on the East Coast, we're typically about a year and a half behind on what they're doing on the West Coast, but it's coming. And so what's great about EXP is in my network, in my upline, I have two of the top producing teams on speed dial. I can figure out what they're doing in their models to help get the leg up and help benefit what I'm doing in my market before anybody else even thinks about it. One example is, and I was actually just telling Patty this the other day, one of the things I wanted to do was I really wanted to get more listings. I wanted to list at a high level. And I started that, but I very quickly almost hit a brick wall. And the brick wall was the management of listing multiple houses in a short period of time and managing the volume of offers that you get based off of doing that. And I connected with one of my uplines and told him what my issue was. And very quickly, he told me exactly how to deal with it. So today, no longer am I dealing with losing offers in my email or having to worry about, did I get them all, or did everybody get an opportunity to even look at the house or submit an offer? My listing process, I have created a process out of it instead of willy-nilly putting a house in MLS and crossing my fingers and hoping it all works out. Because that's kind of what my plan was before. So now, I have listing days of the week. So there's only specific days of the week when I list houses. There's only specific days of the week when offers are reviewed. But not only that, there's a specific way that I review offers and that buyers submit offers so that it's all very organized and it's all very manageable by literally one person. We could list 5 houses today and not have any problems. We wouldn't miss any offers or anything like that. And agents, and if you haven't been on the other end of this, just stick around long enough. You'll miss offers, or you'll be that agent whose offer gets missed by the listing agent.
Yes, and everything you're talking about, when we're doing like our new agent boot camp and stuff, I always tell like any agent that I'm working with on a accountability or coaching level that expectation management and communication are the 2 biggest things for a new agent to have, and you just nailed it. Having those processes help you as the leader and your team set up for expectation management. So that way, you know what to expect. It's not like, oh my gosh, rushing, around, or, the feet knees together, cross your fingers, pray.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So like, I love it. I love that you have a process. Oh, it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. It's changed my life. I'm not stressed out, especially weekends, because I'm a big believer. Like I'm a little bougie, but I'm all about
I'm a
reserving
whole
my
lot of
weekend.
bougie. I don't look like it right now, but I'm a whole lot of bougie.
So I try not to work, or to work as little as possible on the weekends. And so this process has enabled me to have my cake and eat it too. I can list at a high volume and not have to worry about answering phone calls on the weekends, because I have a process, and it doesn't discount anyone. It doesn't, you got to play by my rules, of course, sure. But as long as you follow the rules, you're going to get all the information you need. You're going to have everything you need to submit offers. You're going to have points of contact. And that's what's great about it, because I didn't want to make my process easier at the expense of someone on the other side of the transaction. So one of the ways we collaborate, which you know about, and it looks like it's just me and you, so we can really have some fun. So the EXP workplace is awesome. The one thing I use it for is connecting with the North Carolina group, as well as referrals. If I'm looking for a quick referral agent in a different state, I just pop up here, type in that state, and I'm bound to find multiple agent groups that I can start to screen for agent referrals. So super easy, super simple. I think the way I did it before was you had to log into a website. You had to find the agent that you were interested in maybe possibly hiring. And then you had to connect with them to see if they were the right fit, and then go back in the system and send the referral. Now I just go in here and I pick out my favorites. I can message them or whatnot through the other part of this system, which is called Work Chat, which is like the messenger of workplace, and just ask them the questions. And what I typically do on referrals is I let the client choose. I try to pick maybe my top 2 or 3, and I let them know the client's going to be interviewing and they've made my cutoff, and I'm going to be rooting for them, and I'm going to be putting in a good word for them, because I don't want to take on that responsibility of choosing the wrong agent, or choosing the right agent for the wrong client, because sometimes it's the client that's the problem. Anywho, KBCore. So KBCore in a nutshell, we already know about that. It's your website. So it's where leads go to look at houses. And it also has a back end, a CRM, or client relationship management system. So which is what you're seeing is a screenshot of my actual KBCore CRM, which is dated February 28th, in fact. And I could see live what people have or are doing on my website, which makes follow-up phenomenal. I can follow up based off of the fact that they've clicked on a house, they viewed it multiple times, they favorited a house, and it just makes the process that much easier. Again, before, if you go and try to buy KBCore outside of the EXP system, it's going to cost you for a single subscription, I think it's about $300 a month. I want to say it's about $300 a month. I know I got grandfathered in because before KBCore was the thing, I was part of Inside Real Estate, and I ended up signing up the whole company for, I believe we were paying $680 a month, but that price should have been about $1,200 a month. I never canceled that contract because it's a really good system.
A lot of people don't understand too. Well, I say a lot of people, new agents don't understand the cost of a really good website and CRM and the value that KBCore brings to that, because like, not to put business out there, but you pay anywhere from, like you said, you got a really good deal, but people can pay anywhere from $800 upwards of a couple of grand just to have what KBCore is providing. So KBCore is, like, to me anyway, like, I mean, there is a value on it, but it is priceless when you're a new agent and you're already broke because you haven't sold anything yet. But when you're trying to make money, you don't, a lot of new agents think they have to spend all this money to get started. It's like, no, you
Yeah,
can do it for 80, $85 a month.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And you know what they say, the best CRM is the one that you use.
Mhm.
Yeah. If you don't use it, it could be magical, but it ain't gonna do you no good.
Amen.
So, yeah. So it depends on how you structure it. You know, some CRMs work better for others, but I think overall it's the best tool, regardless of what type of operation that you have.
I agree.
So what's the video game all about? This is the world which we're all familiar with. This is where you can collaborate, you can communicate, and you can cuss out. No, I'm just kidding. This is where we can reach out to people that are in our network. And this is, I think I saw EXP World, I want to say it was probably 8 years ago for the first time. I was with Remax. I remember that still. And I was thinking to myself, because the way that it was explained to me, this was how the future of real estate was going to be. It was kind of surface. It was like that. And I couldn't put two and two together. I couldn't understand how I could make commission checks selling people houses with a video game. That's kind of the concept. I didn't understand that this was just an avenue to how I could collaborate. So now I do understand that. And we know that, the metaverse is going to be a real thing as of yesterday. Like, it's for real. It's already here.
Okay.
So the ironic part about it is, even before that, even before COVID was a thing, EXP World was how EXP did business, because EXP doesn't have, if you will, offices. It's the brokers who manage their own offices. So how do we collaborate if we're not in the same market, or within a local area, and we want to? This is a great way to do it, because I can just pop in here, go into an auditorium, I can go into my state broker room, meet with my broker, I can do all those things through this platform. And it's a real world. It's, people are always active in this world, which I love this part about it. In fact, I like this more than how we're meeting right now. We can see each other face to face, but it's a lot more cool when we can just hop into EXP World and we have our little avatars and have a chat with each other. So,
well, and then, like, this is my very humble, like, small player theory. When I saw EXP World for the first time, when it was presented to us, I laughed because it's a video. It looks like a video
it's
game.
funny, yeah.
And so to me, I was like, well, that's cheesy. But then my marketing brain, because that's what I do, started thinking, I was like, oh my gosh, EXP is playing to everybody that's ever played Sims. And because it came out in the late 90s, early 2000s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is Sims, but for work. If you've ever played Sims, you know what's about to go down, and you can, you're going to do just fine.
Yeah.
So I really do think it was playing to that generation, because that's exactly about the age group that is active in EXP. Like, coming on as new agents are people that are like, who played that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you guys got it.
Yeah. Another interesting fact that a lot of people don't realize is that this world is hosted or owned, I guess I should say, by a company called Verbella. Verbella became really popular when businesses had to shut their doors and tell their employees to work from home. Fortune 500 companies by the handful started reaching out to Verbella and said, we need a technology. Zoom can only do so much. Google Meet can only do so much. We want something more interactive because we can't meet face to face right now. And they started selling they started contracting with a lot of Fortune 500 companies. The more interesting part is that Verbella is owned by EXPI. EXPI is owned by me and you and whoever else is an agent and part of the EXP network, because we own this technology together with the founders and owners of EXP. It's super awesome that the technology that we use every day and we take for granted, companies are, especially more than ever, are paying good money to have access to.
Yes. And I didn't even know that. So I love little knowledge bombs when they're dropped, because I'm like, the more you know. So
Yes, it's a profit center. Yeah, it's a profit
yes.
center. We actually make money. It helps cushion our stock and make sure our stocks are protected, because it's just one of the many companies that Glenn has decided to develop and for the purposes of EXP. One thing that I've noticed about him is whenever he invests in a company or a new venture, it's typically for the benefit of the agent. How can this benefit my agent if I do this? So for example, they just recently acquired Success, Success Inc., which has 100+ year old magazine, monthly magazine that they send out and sell. But Success owns a lot of other items like coaching. And as of recent, in fact, I was on a call yesterday, they are developing a Success Cafe model. So the Success Cafe, when they open, is going to be a network of co-working spaces that have a cafe, they have coffee and snacks and local beers and wine, charcuterie and tapas, as well as a Success certified coach that can help you with business planning, from reviewing P&L plans to marketing structure to whatever. And that's all a part of that subscription. Now, the one thing that we talked about earlier is EXP Incorporated does not have offices, right? Doesn't mean we don't have offices. We're both in an office right now, right? But
I was going to say, I think we're some of the few EXP teams that have, places people can physically go to.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can physically, especially like if you're in my network, I have plenty of space and you can use my space, but it's my space because I have a team. And it's just so happened that I was a broker owner, but not all agents are that way. A lot of agents don't have office space. So the thing that EXP did initially was they formed a partnership with Regis, which is a co-working company that has these beautiful offices nationwide. However, for example, in little old Fayetteville, there's no Regis office, there's no co-working space here. So what does the agent do that's not aligned with, say, someone like me that doesn't have an office? Where do they work? They go to Starbucks, right? So that's what Success Cafe is going to be. It's going to be that space where you can go have a cup of coffee, but you can also print off some flyers, or you can also meet with a business coach. And it's going to mend that gap for the solo agent that's not directly connected to a local team, or their team is in another city, and there's and they need a space where they can meet a client. So I think that's pretty awesome, and I believe is going to be a franchise model. So it will be something that those of us that are serial entrepreneurs can really look into to see if that's something maybe as a subsidiary business that we want to take part in. And that's kind of what I'm basically going through discovery right now to see if that's a model that I want to do.
I like that. And a lot of the things with that EXP, like you had mentioned, how lucky are we to have a founder and a team that of amazing individuals that are always putting the agent first. When you said that, it kind of like nailed it all on the head. They're thinking about like, well, how is, Billy Bob Joe or Tina gonna feed their family this month, or how are they gonna pay their bills if we do this change? Because I can't remember the context of what the meeting was, but a couple of months ago, somebody had pitched something to an EXP, to change some setups, and they flat out said, nope, that's going to cost my agents and I'm not doing it. And I can't remember what it was. I have mom brain. Yeah. So I wish I could remember, but it hit hard with me then too. I was like, wow, this company really cares. Glad we're here, because we looked at other brokerages to expand with, and then we were like, somebody brought EXP to the right, in the right light and shared more, and it's the best decision we've ever made. I think we all joined about the same time too. So
Yeah, I
it's,
think you guys joined probably not even a month or two before I did, because I remember Patty called me about something totally unrelated.
yep.
And then she was talking about, I think she said, well, did you join EXP? And I said, yeah, we just did. And she said, oh my God, so did I. But yeah, what's great about it, all jokes aside, is sort of like, you look at these other brokerages and you realize that, of course, corporately, they want agents to succeed because that's the only way they can justify their costs.
Yeah.
But the issue is that revenue has to come from somewhere in order for it to be profitable. And typically in the real estate world, the revenue comes from the agent. It goes up. And what I love about it is there's a saying that I heard that has stuck with me is, give enough people in life what they want and you'll get what you want, right? Help enough people get what they want and you'll get what you want. And that's what this model is all about. It's like all these founders and owners of real estate outfits, companies, if you will, they're all probably billionaires and their model works. And of course it helps their agents. But I think the genius part about it was Glenn said, I can do really well in my life personally by helping enough people get where they want in life. And so instead of saying, I want all of it, what comes up, he says, well, as long as I'm willing to share what comes in, then I'm never going to have a problem with retention. I'm never going to have a problem with getting agents to buy into it, especially business owners, because business owners get revenue. And what more about it, he committed to it with a charter. It's in the charter. It's not like, oh, we're going to do it this year and see how it works. No, it's that way as long as this company exists. And not only that, and I need to do some research because I suck at it, but my understanding is it's willable. So revenue shares is willable to your heirs. Now there's some stipulations because I think your heirs have to be licensed, but I told my 19-year-old kid, I was like, whether you want to be in real estate or not, you're going to get your real estate license.
Yes. And I've told all my, because we have a little friend group. We're called the Basket of Deplorables. But the Basket of Deplorables. I love my boys so much. It's a group of guys my husband went to college with, all military affiliated. I said, hey, before you guys get out of the Army, you will get your real estate license. And I said, or something that ties into real estate. I said, because that business will never die. And you could be using that as residual income to whatever retirement dreams you have, whether it's, setting up your gun range, blowing each other, whatever, I don't care. Yeah. But get your license so we can have that stable income. Because the reason I started getting into it, besides having Patty, cheer me on in the corner, was I have had, before my girls came around, we wanted to provide a way to fund college without going broke kind of thing. So my husband and I were like, well, how can we do that? Real estate. That is the best investment you can make. So getting your license, whether you're going to use it every day or not, or use it once a month or every couple of years, that is the best investment I think you can make in yourself. So I think that's great advice to give your 19-year-old. If they don't want to go to college, they've got a career already in the back corner.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love that. Go dad.
Yeah, he'll thank me one day.
Yes.
So we were talking about, different groups and different networks or whatnot. And of course we're in two different groups, but I like to share just some of the people who have already made an impact in the last year and a half in my business. And that's who these folks are. So you'll see the real producers on the magazine cover. That's Marty in the blue suit. That's I call her my real estate godmother, because she is the it in real estate and has been for many years. You got Sharon Evans, you got April Stevens and Dunn, you got Tina Call and Carrie. I love Tina Call. She's just awesome, just very inspirational. But not just words, but like this is literally what you have to do as a business person to really grow your business. And proof is in the pudding. She practices what she preaches, and we both grow together. So I love that. Dan and Kyle Whistle, the two gentlemen at the bottom, they're in San Diego. Two different outfits. Okay, get this. Competitors by any other standard or any other brand, but partners in a sense that they work together but separately in their production side. They have two different real estate offices, but they work together in this EXP model to help each other grow. And because of it, they rival each other as typically the #1 and #2 top producing teams in San Diego. And they go around, now they're at a point in their business where they're coaching. So in fact, what I was telling you earlier about some things that I needed to figure out to help grow my sales business, Kyle personally gave me that advice. He told me what things I should consider implementing in my business to help better manage my listing business. Gentleman at the very top right, Mark Z. Mark Z is the man. He is selling like stupid amount of houses every year in Detroit, Michigan. But he's a true entrepreneur. Like he's the type that knows that, okay, it's not about selling houses and making money off selling houses. It's about taking that resource and investing that into something else to create wealth. And he shares that openly with the network. So it's not even about real estate with him. The fact that I'm in his network, he shares some very insightful business strategies with me. And I have Ashley here. Ashley's not actually even in my up or down line. She's what I call, in my network. But the reason why I put her up here is because Ashley is like the social media whiz. And she's like completely open to teaching people, especially social media idiots like myself, how to really do it, like where to start and how to do it. And she's just one of many examples of people that there is no benefit to them other than the fact that they get self-gratification of knowing that they can help someone else. So she gets the top spot in my group today. So I'm trying to stop a sneeze.
I hate when that happens, especially like when you're in the process and you're in your groove and you're like,
yeah. Yeah, it's like,
thank you, allergy season.
So how, here's a question that you probably get a lot too. So where's the broker? How does the broker play out in all this? EXP structure where we have regional brokers. So we have multiple brokers in North Carolina, and they work regions. So in the Sand Hills, for example, Rhonda Johnson is our broker.
Yep.
I think it's hard for people to wrap their head around that and it's because of how they think of what the broker is and actually how licensing teaches it. They think the broker is the end all be all when it comes to selling real estate. The fact of the matter is the broker in charge is the sergeant at arms. They're the ones that make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. And through our compliance process, they're able to do that without having to be right in front of our face. Mm-hmm. The coach and where this industry is going now, and it's another testament to the model, is that the coach and mentorship comes from someone such as myself, such as you, who you're a team leader, you're a marketing director, you're ISA. We're the ones that's working every day in sales. EXP provides salary broker in charge, brokers in charge to make sure that we're compliant. They don't produce, they don't sell. All they do is they make sure we're compliant. And so that's more than what most companies can offer, because typically the broker in charge by default tends to be the owner of the company, especially if it's a smaller company, because they can't afford to have a broker in charge on salary. And they're not making enough money off of their agents. So guess what else they have to do? Sell houses. Mm-hmm. And then guess what else they have to do, because they can't sell enough houses? Property management, mm-hmm. which means they got to do home inspection. Like, it just never ends. And I know this because I've been down that road, and it's a bumpy road.
Yeah, because I remember what was it? It's been a couple of years. So when I first came on, Patty was selling houses. She had her property management. She was her bit. And so you two have driven down the same road one too many times. I don't know how Rhonda does what she does for as many agents that she does.
Yeah.
She's
Well,
always quick to
luckily
respond
for
to.
her, and she has a compliance team that work with
Yep.
her. So, it's not, where she has to review every contract. It goes through
Exactly.
compliance, of course, which you already know. And then, when there are issues or there are any, problems that need to be resolved, then it gets escalated to her. But it doesn't mean that she's not available. I mean, anytime I've reached out to her, she's always available for me to answer my
Yes.
questions. The thing with it is, she doesn't present it from a perspective of what's the best business decision. I'm that guy, right? Like for me, I'm always, I believe real estate, especially in North Carolina, it's black and white. There's no gray area. But if there is a gray area, trust me, I'm going to find it. Rhonda is not that person. She is not that person to do that, because that's not her role. Her role is to say, this is what the real estate commission says. This is the way that you have to do it. And you need that. You really do. You need that, because you don't want to lose your license over something petty. You really don't. And so to have someone to crack that whip and say, this is how things need to go. And in fact, I think some people look at it as a good thing. Some people look at it as a bad thing, but just take it from someone who's done it. Understand that it's great to have someone that's all focused.
I was going to say, it's amazing and even now, because so many more people are coming into the real estate world, as a nice way to put it, they're cracking down harder on compliance. So having a Rhonda makes the world so much safer for your career and protects you so much more. And I think it's awesome, especially when you like you and like us, we're trying to grow teams, and sometimes you get a new agent that's got a wild hair, and it's nice that if you didn't catch something, that somebody else has your back. So.
Right. Yeah. With my team, I have independent agents that's a part of my extended team, and they'll get out of place. And the one thing about it that I like about Rhonda is she knows that I have an influence on people that are in my network. So she'll reach out to me and she'll say, hey, can you get with such and such and let them know that whatever. It's not, I never feel in a situation where I'm bullied or anybody on our team is, but in fact, she looks for my assistants to collaborate and make sure that we're doing things right together. And it's not just her. I just picked on her because she happens to be
we communicate with a lot, so I pick on her a lot.
yeah. So, but you see, there's a whole staff of brokers in North Carolina alone, and because we're growing. By the way, when I first joined EXP a year and a half ago, I think there were 36,000 agents in the globally, and I'm going to take a wild guess and say we were maybe in 15 countries at the time. So here we are a year and a half later, and we're just over 76,000 agents, might be 77,000 now. And we're in 20 countries. So that's how quickly this model is growing. And so keep in mind, that's, I said, I'll talk about the bad with the good. That's one of the bad things. We're growing so quickly that EXP corporately is having a hard time keeping up with the staffing to support the quick growth of the agents that are joining the company. One thing I've learned, what I've seen though, is as time goes by, they've streamlined their processes and made it better. So every time they roll something out, it makes the process a lot easier, which I enjoy, the fact that they're not just going to keep it one way forever. And I see that they have no issues staffing or hiring talent to the company. So that part I enjoy. So that's my presentation. and I did it. Okay, I went over about 4 minutes. However, if you're watching this, because we are recording it, if you're watching the recording, I didn't go in enough depth with it. Please reach out to me. Best ways, shoot me an email, follow me on Instagram, message me through Instagram. I also post a lot of helpful videos for agents, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. And hopefully you'll join some of our other training series that we have coming soon. And until then, happy selling. And Kaylin, thanks for coming on today and sharing with me.
When Patty told me you had it going on, I was like, well, I'm going to go be a hype man today then. So
I
we're all
appreciate
about it. So whenever you got something, let us know. The power team in pink's got your back too. Love the blue blazer, by the way. That is your signature look, and your branding is